Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. This is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL here, and another hopefully exciting video for you guys where I'm going to try to do something a little bit Celtic and something, sort of themed for this whole St. Patrick's Day. Mind you, I'm not using greens and stuff because I really need to focus on the pattern itself. It doesn't matter what colors I use in the design portion. And I'm going to try to keep this pattern really easy. I want to make it so that way it's something that a beginner could actually accomplish. So let's see, a little bit, yellow. That'll work. So starting out here, really simple, just following a straight line down. Like I said, it's going to be a Celtic design, right? So when I think of the Celtic designs, I think of how the patterns sort of look like they were going over top of each other and a sort of a weaving kind of fashion. And to make this a little bit more interesting, I'm going to use basically two colors that are going over, top of each other and then back under and over top and back under again. So that's the plan. I think this will give me an opportunity to kind of show the beginners, a bit more of what is possible with a little bit of creativity involved. So as you can see, just simply bringing it straight down, and then kind of right here you can see I just followed it along. So the color comes all the way to the end, and then the next one comes over top of that. It's not super complicated. There's no, it's basically, if you went through my early tutorials, you'd see that this is basically just the two knots. One goes to the left and one goes to the right. All right, bring this one down a bit more. Okay. Now, so we have the whole one side. I'm grabbing the same color. It's just, for me, it's easier just to use the color picker, pick up, make sure I got the same one. And essentially that's exactly how the strings are going to be put together, right? So far I can see that when it comes to the yellow, there's four of those, right? That tells me how much string I'm going to have cut. It tells me what's going to be actually used in this. I can also see that where the red is, that represents there'll be just one of those. And as we get this down a little bit further, I'll show you where the other color gets involved. Whoops. And the yellow comes across this way. All right. So hopefully the rest of you are tying one on in the same way I am. Nobody's getting too drunk out there. Nobody's putting their life at risk, especially don't drink and drive. So there's my plea for you people. Don't do something silly, get yourselves killed. All right, now I need a different color. I need something, I guess we're going to have primaries here, so let's do that. All right, it's real easy to see the difference, and then we'll be able to see kind of what is trying to be achieved. And you'll see how the yellows went over top of the blue, right? The red goes over it. It's simple. Blue gets down the end, comes over top of the yellow, and then it's going to come down and go over top of these. It was under the last time, it goes over this time. See? And with that, we pretty much have a pattern. I don't think we need to overcomplicate things. We don't have to draw this all the way to the end. We basically know what the setup is going to be like. And let me zoom out a bit. And there you have it. That's a good start. So let's get making it. And all right, this is a disc, and as you see here, I got the string laid out. I have 12 strings, and the first thing I'm going to do is where the strings we're going to cross, I'm going to tie those into a knot. And later, you should be able to understand why I tie this little knot here. I don't tie them all. That would be seriously overkill. Don't do it. Just all you need is just the 2 strings that are going to start moving. They tie into a knot, and then put them in the perspectively where they would have gone to. The next thing is you give the disc a little turn. The one from the top comes down. The one from the bottom goes up. Then you turn the disc, and you do it again. And you basically keep doing that. This is the worst 18 seconds of the whole video. Bear with me. You keep going around and around. In this case, it was until all the strings landed where it started. Right? And that gave me just enough to have a nice little loop for the top of the bracelet. So 18 seconds to get to there. Not really. That's what time lapse will do for you. Oh, I bumped the pull for the camera. Yeah, that was not exactly my finest moment there. Alright, so now I'm going to tie a knot on the last ones. These are the last 2 strings that crossed each other. Bump the pull again. It's really difficult to put the camera in the perspective of where I'm looking at it because, for one, it's blocking my view, and 2, it's easy to bump into the things. So, alright, so now that the knot is tied, I can take all these strings off of here. And essentially, you will be able to see exactly how I've made my loop, and here, let me get this thing off first. It is, there we go. And this is how I had it wound up underneath. So that way it kept it out of the way. And give it a little tug, and there it is. That's, oh, a little out of focus there. But that is the braid. That is it. And that'll be my loop. And those little knots I started with, see how it's not unraveling? That's why. If you don't put those little knots at the beginning and the end, essentially when you get to this point, you're fighting with the whole thing trying to come undone. And let's face it, you don't want that, right? So now, I told you there was the 12 strings, right? We're going to have, it's basically like a 6-string bracelet. We're doubling up the string, and that's what's going to allow for the colors to switch sides. So you can see how I shifted the darker color to the right and the lighter color to the left. I'm going to bring the 2 edges closer together and bring that, just kind of loop it over once. All right, go get the next one. And I'm going to pull that brown edge, just keep them in really nice and close to each other. You're really trying to hide the magic of how it's done. So when the person gets it, they're like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. How do the colors get over there like that? This is how. This is the magic behind the scene. Okay, grabbing the next ones. And all the strings essentially just bunched up at this point, trying to get it sorted to get the nicest, cleanest start. There we go. Everything's nice and tight, just checking. And that's good. Next one goes in. This will help hold it. Each one consecutively after really locks it in place. And essentially I'm just going to follow the same color sequence as what we did from the drawing. It's basically with this darker green is the color where the background was, right? So those 3 went down. Now it's the outer colors I'm using. This is a very light colored green. And then instead of using a red, it's this sort of brownish color. And then that's my last string down there again, the other kind of bordering one. Now I work on the left hand side. same thing happens. Make sure I get that kind of yellowish color taken care of. Grab me a couple of the dark greens. The camera's struggling to keep the focus here. Kind of bear with me. And bring that first one in, and the yellow that came across, give it a little tug. Look at that, nice and tight, right up at the top. Really, final product, you'll barely even be able to see what went into it. And that's my goal. I've tried to make it as pretty and as seamless as possible. Alright, next, another dark green. Get those three in. Mind you, see, it's not like a full knot, it's just doing part of it. It just lays out the strings in the right sequential order, keeps the top looking nice and clean and orderly. It gives you that professional look that you'll want for when you make your bracelets. Alright, now the light color. And once this is done, we're ready to begin it. I'm trying to keep the video short, so I'm not going to bore you with a whole lot of stuff here, especially the time lapse or anything. So let's have a look at how this thing comes together now. The dark greens, then the left hand side comes together, right hand side comes down, goes over, follows exactly with the pattern. Yellow one comes across, dark green diamond, and there you have it. That is the finished bracelet. This is hopefully taught you something, hopefully, or at least inspired you. From this pattern, I could think of a lot of things I could come up with. So hopefully you are as inspired as I was. So, all right, guys, have a great St. Patrick's Day, and keep safe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, do click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any questions you'd like answered in future tutorials, leave a comment below. For more on friendship bracelets, visit AKAAWOL.com. Also, be sure to hit me up on Instagram at AKAAWOL. Thanks for watching, and don't get your strings in a bunch.